Hey guys, this is Kyle, your admin in the Dental Office Manager community, and today we have with us Brenda McNulty.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast, where we talk about the issues that matter most and help us to become better leaders in our dental practice. I'm your host, Kyle Summerford. Let's dive right in.
Brenda is one of our top engaging, helpful members in the community. And so what we've decided to do is start spotlighting our members and just really showing how they've contributed and where they come from in dental, just getting a backstory on our members. And so we can all share information, helpful information, and help one another. So Brenda, thanks for coming on.
Pleasure.
Just wanted to kind of have you introduce yourself to the community and just maybe give us a little background on how you ended up in the dental industry.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Again, my name is Brenda McNulty. I have been in the dental industry 32 years now. It's been a really long time. I did start off as a dental assistant. I was married to a Marine, and during Operation Desert Storm, they deployed too many troops. So they didn't have enough people to work their dental clinic. So they put a word out there and said, any spouses able to go through the Navy's dental training program, and you can volunteer some time to pay off your course. And all I heard was, government needs me, sort of. And so I took the dental assisting training course, and I think I had to put in like 500 or 1,000 hours, something like that, working in the dental training facility on Camp Pendleton, California, in California. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And then after my time was done, I went out and worked in the civilian world and clearly found out that I am not a very good dental assistant.
Oh,
I was used to only doing amalgams all day long every day for the military, and man, that's all I could do. So then I went on the business side and didn't look back. I was an assistant maybe 2 years, and the rest of the time has been admin and done it all. I worked in large practices, small practices, HMOs, Medicaid clinics, and for the last 15 years, I've been a dental consultant. And I worked for a remote team company where we were hoping that we could fill in the gaps for dental offices all across the country with remote team members. And that's where I am. And right now I am currently the owner and founder of DSO Facts. And what that is the Fractional Training Officer Company. So I'm training to dental offices along with accountability and implementation skills.
So wow, that's amazing. So that's amazing. So, one of the things, okay, so when I hear you say, I mean, first off, that the amount of years you have in dental just kind of speaks for itself, right? I know it's kind of odd because look, I've been in dental a while too. And so I feel like the older we get, the more we learn, right? But you always have to kind of stay on top of things, and you really have to like continuously like just grow in dental, right? So it's always amazing to hear where others have come from and where they are today, right? I think one of the greatest things in dental is that the opportunities are endless, right? And so you can be as great as you want to be, or you could just kind of just continue doing what you're happy with, which is fine. Right. But the opportunities are kind of endless. And so that really speaks volumes and shows like, hey, look, you started out as a dental assistant and you work your way up and where you are today is amazing. And so, I heard you say DSO Facts. And so we would love to learn more about DSO Facts. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Well, first of all, the website is dsofacts.net.
Got it.
It's FACTS, not like the old school FAXs that we used to get.
Yeah.
DSO Facts was founded because I was at a large dental meeting and I was listening to the speaker say, well, we have such huge turnaround in our DSO that it's really hard to train people. And then somebody else would chime in and say, I have no problem training them, but I do have a problem holding them accountable and making sure that they implement. I just want to do dentistry. I don't want to do the rest of it. So we went to lunch one day and we're sitting at a table and people were asking some advice and I was giving them the answers. And they said, well, why don't you open up a company that does that? And it started spinning in my head a little bit. I absolutely loved my job and had no intentions of leaving, but it clearly stayed in my brain for a very long time. And then other people reached out and other people reached out. And I just decided, you know what, as of January 1, 2024, I'm going to do this. I had been a dental consultant for some major dental consulting companies, and I even owned a dental consulting program before.
But
But what makes this different is I say that there's tons of really good dental consultants out there, and I considered myself one. And what I would do is I would give everybody recipes. Do it this way. It works. Do it. But then I was never there to make sure they actually did. And so now as a fractional training officer, the offices get me for a fraction of my time throughout the week or throughout the month. And what we do is we devise an accountability and an implementation plan.
Yes.
And then we go back and we say, this is what you said you were going to do. This is what I said I'm going to do to hold you accountable. This is where we are.
Wow. Okay. That's so training is everything, right? And so, as a dental office manager myself, right? I always find myself trying to train staff, new staff, right? And one of the hardest things is because I am limited on time, right? Dental office managers wear many hats. I got to do this. I got to do the financing. I do the treatment plan, the treatment case presentation, the insurance. I have to overlook so many things that I can see where your training could be useful in any practice, right? Because it's I can teach, but I have very little time, right? And that's one of the issues that I have found over the years with training, especially new staff. But even so, training the staff, you have to make sure that they're actually implementing what you taught, right? And so that takes more time out of the office manager's schedule, or, just kind of pulls away from other tasks that I should be focusing on. So I could see definitely how, that could be something that any dental practice really could kind of use your services and find help with. That's great. So give our audience an example of the type of training that you would offer.
Okay, so let me give you one that's pretty basic.
Okay.
Every doctor wants a phenomenal new patient phone call. That's the first introduction that your patient gets to your practice. And they have this vision of what it should look like, right? A mission and vision for their practice, and they want that person to represent them, to represent the brand. But more often than not, people are rushed through that phone call. And sometimes when we go back to an accountability piece and we say, why didn't this new patient show up? We can pinpoint it back to the new patient phone call that's recorded. And we could say, well, the verbal scripts weren't followed. Maybe we've taught them to use the patient's name 4 times throughout the phone call. We've taught them to say, let me be the first to welcome you to ABC Dental, and then we tell them something special about our practice. We're selling the practice. So
Right.
that might be something that we all decide on a new script that we're going to use. And is it actually being implemented? A lot of people that work in the dental space, they have on the DISC personality profile, they have an S personality. So they're pretty steady people. They like things the way that they are. And change is not their friend necessarily. So having that implementation piece and being able to say, let's listen to this phone call. What did you like? What did you not like? And how could we make it better? That might be a piece. I can tell you, having worked with hundreds of doctors across the country, I can almost see inside their head what they're going to say to me. And it's when I tell them anything that's going on or anything that needs to be fixed, the first words out of their mouth is, I told them I
Yeah.
told them,
Yeah.
but you can't just tell somebody. It's
Right.
like, think of going to the medical doctor and the medical doctor saying, hey, you need to cut down on your salt, right? Just because you told me that I'm going to cut down on my salt, if you're not monitoring me, if you're
Right.
not giving me a diet plan, if you're not actually watching me cook, you don't
Exactly.
know if I've actually cut down on the salt.
Yeah. 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 You're preaching to the choir. It's so hard to kind of like say, hey, look, it's easy to make a script, right? But it's hard to make sure that it's being used consistently the way it was designed and really just making sure like, hey, look, stick to the script. We created this for a reason, right? It works. It's a simple, like it works. So let's like try to keep doing it. But I have experienced that firsthand, so I 100% can understand where you're coming from. So that's amazing. That's great. Yeah, one of the challenges I have is actually having the staff really be continuous with delivering the same information. And when you mention sales, right? Like sales is a big part of dentistry, right? And sales is like a weird word because it's looked at as though like maybe it's like negative, right? But like at the end of the day, there are salaries that need to be paid, right? And there's overhead costs that need to be covered. So yeah, 100% I agree with you, Brenda, and that's an amazing thing that you're offering. I think that's a good training that any dental practice could definitely use and learn from, right? So it's hard to do that. So yeah, so tell me a little bit more. Now I'm like, hey, give me everything you
Okay.
got. Let's highlight and just kind of learn a little bit more.
Sure. So, if somebody were to sign up and say, "Hey, I want it all," we're going to start with a SWOT and a practice analysis. We're going to do a fee analysis, all of that good stuff, and then we're going to, with our strategic plan, find out where we're going to start. Right. But the biggest piece for me is to use transformational leadership, not transactional. So if I want transactional, you're going to be working really hard. As a doctor, you're going to be saying, I want this, send the claim, attach the x-ray, put a narrative on there, do this, do that, do this. But a transformational leadership is going to say, hey, Kyle, we need our claims paid. Could you please attend a CE and find out how exactly we can get our claims paid every single time, the first time, clean claims. And I'm going to kind of pass off this leadership to you and say, please help me, because the end result is what I want. And if I'm just telling you, do this, do this, do this, you might have some resentment. But if I include you in the solution with this transformational leadership style, there's a much better chance that it's going to get implemented and that they're going to want to be held accountable. So we talked to the doctors about that. And you can use the transformational approach with anything. You've got a team member that's calling out quite a bit. I am not an HR specialist. I will refer you to some wonderful HR people. But what I can say is, let's take a transformational approach. Go up to them and say, if you were me, what would you do?
Yeah.
And just listen and get to the bottom of it. So the bottom line is, we all know what's necessary. We all know that everybody can benefit from training, accountability, and implementation. Where people fall short is maybe they're a leader and nobody's following them. They have it's just a job mentality.
Right.
They're thinking about the whiffle. What's in it for me? What's in it for me to keep this appointment on the schedule? If I let them cancel, I get to go home early. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And we talk about things like what motivates your team. We'll have a survey that we send out, and we'll find out, is Kyle motivated by money, or is he motivated by having a flexible work schedule where he can go to his daughter's choir concert?
Sometimes both.
Yeah.
Maybe more money. No, who knows?
Yeah.
But that's,
But
yeah.
it could be, you could have the personality that you actually want to sit in on some of these leadership decisions. Do we use Vine? Do we use Change? Do we use this? Do we use that? maybe that's where your motivation comes from.
Right.
So unless a doctor and a team really know the motivational factors
Yeah.
and the strategic plan, they are at the status quo. They are not getting better. Maybe they're not getting worse, but status quo is a dangerous place to be in.
Got it. So it sounds like, I mean, it sounds like dental office managers could obviously benefit from your services, right? The practice as a whole can benefit. I think, dental office managers that might be like on like commissions and things of that nature, like this is opportunity for them to like better the practice and to like increase, say, revenue, right? Which ultimately can benefit everybody in the practice, right? So this, yeah, I'm convinced already, Brenda, that like your service is something that dental office managers should really reach out to you and find out more about. Um, just kind of tell us like how can our members reach out to you? How can they get more information from you on this?
Well, there's a few different ways. Obviously, I'm all over Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. Just look me up, Brenda McNulty. It's there. You can Google me. I don't know what you'll find. I haven't done that in a while. It'll be a little scary. But you can go to my website, dsofax.net. On my website, you'll have a little bit of a bio about me, but you'll also see a bit about what makes fractional coaching work. And I do work with private practices. I do work in larger practices. Sometimes it's just they're not listening to me. I'm a good manager. I'm really good at numbers.
Yeah.
My team's not listening. Okay, well, let's work together. So you'll find that information on my webpage. Full disclosure, not everyone's going to like my webpage.
Okay. It's okay.
I am a devout Christian, and the company was formed basically with that foundation. So there's even a page on my website where people can request prayer. You don't have to be one of my clients. If you're struggling, go ahead, request prayer. I have a prayer team that prays over all of those requests, but that's just who I am. And I just kind of figured if that offends you or you don't like it and you don't sign up as a client, that's okay. Everybody's okay with that. The ones that do want my services, don't worry, I don't bring that into the practices, but I felt the full disclosure to tell you because it's bam in your face on my website.
Gotcha. Listen, yeah. That's awesome. Brenda, I really appreciate your time, and it was really nice getting to know you a little bit more on a personal level. And if anyone in the group wants to reach out to Brenda, definitely reach out to her. She has a lot to offer your practice. And again, Brenda, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk soon. And we may need you as well. So,
well, absolutely. Anybody that wants to reach out, they can. I know sometimes people think she's a consultant or she's a trainer. If I reach out, she's going to try and charge me money. No, absolutely not. The only stupid question is one not asked. And chances are, I've been asked that question hundreds of times before. You've been in this business as long as we have. You hear it all. So anything that you want to ask, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Brenda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time, and we will talk soon, and I will see you in the community.
Great. Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome. Thank you. Take care.
You too.